Welcome back to another episode of Red Carpet Living with Jen. My name is Jennifer Mercado and I am a Florida-based realtor here to give you some tips if you're finding yourself as a buyer stuck in a seller's market. So it's a seller's market and you've given offers and offers and offers and nothing is being accepted. I wanted to share some tips about some things that were helpful for my buyers and that I felt that buyers should know as they move forward within this market. If you're following on my Facebook Live, you'll know that my 5 Facts Friday right now are being focused on sellers to help them out with getting the best market value of their home, selling it in a quick time. And since the Florida market is really, really hot right now, I did also want to share some love to my buyers on the podcast today. So I just wanted to share some tips with you about what are some things that you can do if you find yourself that you're in a seller's market and you're not getting the house that you want. The first thing that I will recommend is to have an open and candid conversation with your realtor, whomever it is that you're working with. Ultimately, it is your money. We can make recommendations. We can let you know what the market is looking like. We can give you our expertise. But at the end of the day, the person who finally decides and who is allowed to make that final decision for what offer they make is you. So don't be afraid to have a candid conversation with your realtor about what offer it is that you feel comfortable making, or what are some of the things that might influence a decision for you. You should feel comfortable to be able to ask that. So that's the first thing that I wanted to share. Whenever I'm working with my buyers, I like to let them know, yes, I bring expertise to the table. Yes, I am your resource, but ultimately your heart and your soul is going to speak to the house that you want and, what type of an offer it is that you want to work on. If it's a house that you really, really love, I do not suggest lowballing. Not only does it give the seller on the other side a bad taste, but it also doesn't let them know that you're that serious. So if it's a house that you truly, truly love, sit down with your realtor, get the offer ready, get your pre-approval letter ready so that you can hand it in as quickly as possible, since houses are not lasting on this market. Ask your realtor too about the type of inventory that is lasting, based on price. There are certain price points in Florida that they're not lasting on the market. So from the last time that I checked, anything between like $250 and $450 is gone within a week. So if that's where your targeted price is, be sure that you have that information, that you know how long those houses are typically on the market for, so that you can decide if this is the house that you really want, what's going to be the best offer, and how long do you have in order to make that offer. I mentioned also too that my husband and I are kind of in the process of deciding whether to sell or to buy at this moment, and that's one of the things too that we're looking at is the designated price point that we have. What is the timeline of that inventory? How long is it actually lasting on the market for us to decide if now is a good time or if we wanted to wait a little bit. The next thing that I wanted to let buyers know is that asking questions is okay, and asking for comps is okay too. Because we're in a seller's market, there is a lot of potentially overinflation of the price. There's an emotional attachment to it as well, which sellers, I'll speak to you on one of my Facebook Lives discussing that. But you want to make sure that if you do put an offer and it is reflective of the market, it will appraise at that value. But if you've done your comps and you're seeing that maybe it's a little bit overpriced and you've got some room to negotiate, don't be afraid to do so and to ask for the proof of the market for that price point. There was a house a few months ago, I think, that I was working with some relocating buyers that the price was just out of control. It was not reflective of what the market was. It wasn't reflective of that community. And that house stayed on the market. Luckily, my buyers found another home that they loved and we were able to negotiate a great deal for them there. But then that other house stayed on the market and they were trying to contact us afterwards to see if we'd make a different offer. So you do want to make sure that you're getting all of that information beforehand and that you're not afraid to ask, even if it's in a seller's market. Yes, they have an advantage. Yes, the inventory is limited, but there is still wiggle room because ultimately they want to sell that house as quickly as possible, and having a price that is not reflective is not going to get them that quick sale, and it won't get it to appraise either. So it's absolutely okay to lean on your realtor for this information, to see if, you're on Zillow, you see the estimates. They're not 100% accurate, but they can give you a ballpark idea of what houses within that neighborhood are going for. So it's absolutely okay to ask questions. So to recap, if you're a buyer on a seller's market and you want to know what are some of the things that you can do to land an offer, it's to know that you're going to get recommendations from your realtor, and ultimately you get to decide what it is that you want to do, which house it is that you want to put the offer on, and what offer you feel comfortable within your financial circumstance in placing. 2, knowing that you can ask questions of the market itself, looking at trends, looking at how long the houses are lasting on the market. And 3, to understand that even if the price is a little bit over and there might be some room for wiggle, in terms of your finances, you still want to make sure that the comps are reflective of what that value is going to be, because if not, it will not appraise. And then you're stuck in a situation where the seller might not want to lower, or you might not want to go up, and you might end up losing the house of your dreams. But I always say, when you are looking for your home, let that home speak to you. The energy, the location, the priority it is of the lifestyle that you want to live in that life. And that's going to let you know if that's the house that you want to put an offer on. I don't want buyers to get desperate and maybe falling back on some homes that aren't necessarily the loves of their lives, because your home is out there. And once you hone in on the lifestyle that it is that you want to live in, that home will speak to you and come for you. And there have been times where, like I mentioned, they put an offer, it gets declined, and then a few weeks later, an offer falls through, and then they come back to my buyer. So if your house is out there and you're ready and willing and able for it, it will come to you. But do be a savvy buyer, and do know that ultimately it is your choice which house it is that you want to offer on and what you feel comfortable doing within the parameters of your financial situation. So I hope that this helps. If you guys have any questions, you know exactly where to reach me. All my information is below. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, on my webpage, jennifermercadorealtor.com. That has links to all of my other locations. And if you've been following me on Facebook, you'll know that I also am in a contest for a magazine cover. So I'll drop the link to vote in on this podcast as well. And if you're catching me on the audio, thank you so much for spending some time with me. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you too as well for spending time with me. And I look forward to having another candid conversation with you as to what the real estate market is reflective of, and also what are some things that are going on behind the scenes with me. So I hope you guys are well, take care of yourselves, and I will see you for the next one.